Welcome to another episode of Under the Influence. I am Brian Glenn from Right Side Broadcasting. Thank you so much for joining us on our third edition of the show that kind of goes in depth and helps you understand more about your favorite conservative influencers. And that's exactly what we want to do here on the show. But first, let's talk about our partners over at Patriot Mobile. Now, big tech is not the only ones that are censoring you. Also, big phone companies are censoring you as well, so you can fight back with that. Go to patriotmobile.com/RSBN. We got a special offer there for you. It's seamless to switch over. It's easy, it's fast, and plus you'll be supporting a company that supports conservative values, and that's so crucial in today's culture. All right, let's kick this show off. You might know them as the Patriot Sisters. I met them months ago at the CPAC in Orlando, I believe. And joining me now are the Patriot Sisters themselves. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having us. We love what y'all do. So we are super excited to be here.
All right. If someone is new to you guys and they say, well, who are these? Wait, there's two of them. They're very similar, right? They've got an American flag behind them, which we all love. Tell us a little about yourself and what your platform, what you stand for and what you talk about.
Yeah, of course. So first off, my name's Isabella. I'm 20.
And I'm Christiana. I'm 22. And yes, we're called the Patriot Sisters on social media. Yes, we're really sisters, but
no, we're not twins.
Even though we look alike and we say things together, doesn't help. But really our mission was, because we're Gen Z and we're in the younger aspect of things, this new political chaos is our reality of our adult, life. And so our heart is just to ignite patriotism, the love of this flag back into our generation, while partnering with
the other generations that came before us, because if not for their wisdom, we couldn't do what we do today.
Yeah, we definitely need more people like you, especially in your age. Let's talk about how you got involved in politics. I mean, often you find young millennials that there's got to be something that was triggered in your life to say, wait a minute, this is not what I've seen, or this is not what I've been taught, but this is what supposedly I've got to believe now. How did you get in politics?
Well, we've always grown up in a household that has taught us to love God, country, and then family. So that was always instilled with us, or in us, from day one.
But we never talked about politics growing up. Honestly, this is so dumb of me to say, but I didn't know the difference between Republican and Democrat for the longest time, even up to high school, really. And so it's not like we grew up knowing everything. My parents voted for the Bushes, but that's the extent of what I knew.
Right.
But it wasn't until Donald Trump came down the escalator
in 2015 and announced that he was going to run. And from that moment, we were 100% on board on the Trump train, as some might call it. And from that point on, it just kind of grew over time. And then it wasn't until the summer of 2020, when all the chaos was happening, where we really stepped into the scene.
Mm-hmm. And I would imagine as soon as you started posting up that you liked that orange man that came down the escalator, that's when your inbox started to light up with a lot of interesting messages. Could you kind of share your thoughts on what might have happened as soon as you supported Donald J. Trump for president?
Yeah, so we actually grew up doing pageants, and we were pageant girls growing up. So for us, Donald Trump was
the pageant guy,
and he was loved. There was not one pageant girl who hated him.
He was adored.
He was adored. And so we actually used to comment on his Instagram before he was ever announced, hey, you should run for president. You'd be a really great president.
Because he used to make videos bashing Obama and his administration.
It was great.
We loved it.
Fantastic. And so, but the moment we started posting on social media in 2016 and then again in 2020, the pageant girls were the most brutal that came out of the woodworks and attacking
Our name
us.
was blackmailed. We've been in the industry for over 13 years, national winners, both of us, and we were blackmailed. So now we can never go back in the industry and ever recompete. So that happened to us last summer. And then we said, you know what, we're going to double down. We were being open and vocal on our personal accounts, but we thought, let's combine our voices.
Do it together.
We do everything else together. Why not open an account? And that's how the Patriot Sisters was born. And it's been a whirlwind of crazy emotions, but it's been amazing.
Okay, let's talk about the people that you want to reach. Obviously, faith is a big part of your channel, which I love, because I think we all need to be spreading the gospel, even to people who are believers. And also, more importantly, I guess, guys, the ones that aren't believers. I mean, that's our job in this world. Let's talk about how you incorporate your faith into your posts.
And one of the things that separates even conservatives from one another is having that foundation. And just because you're a conservative doesn't necessarily make you a Christian, although I personally believe they have to go together. And they have to be congruent in that aspect. But you have to have a firm foundation in everything you believe. So last year we saw a lot of Christians who don't have a firm foundation waver with the BLM movement and not knowing really what take to or the perspective to
What
have.
stance to take.
And so that's why on our page, everything we have has Christian biblical foundation, because if you don't have that firm foundation,
You're going to waver and you're going to sway with whatever new pop culture trend is
social,
going.
cultural justice movement that comes your way. So faith is super important.
I think it's really interesting right now to see what's going on in Afghanistan and all these people that would rally out in our streets for whatever cause, social cause that was going on here now, but they remain silent. It's tumbleweeds and crickets on what's going on with women and children over in Afghanistan. They've seemed very ignorant and silence on that. And that's a whole for another show, guys. But to your point, you guys are doing a great job of pushing your message out. How do you determine what your next post is going to be? Is it something that trends in the news or maybe something that resonates with you guys at church?
Hey, Brian, if you have any tips, we'll take it. Because right now we just kind of go with the flow because there's so many crazy things that are happening in the news. So usually that's what we go with. Although technically we started with the church foundation and that's always been kind of incorporated with our posts. We were even kicked out of the church last summer because of the Patriot Sisters. Wow. And regardless of that, we still doubled down and we were like, God's on this. We're going to be on it too.
Do you have a preferred platform? I know that, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, obviously, or Instagram, obviously, all that stuff. But which platform do you think gets your message out the most that may not be suppressed as others?
I think actually our Facebook page actually does the best. And Facebook's not where our target audience is necessarily. It's a little bit of the older generation, but our videos get hundreds of thousands of views at times. And so Facebook does really well.
It used to be TikTok, but we were banned on TikTok. We had over 100,000 followers. Our account was removed.
Okay.
So I don't know why, but
Facebook never know why.
I'll never know why.
And I think, I had a TikTok account. This is years ago when I was working in radio. And then when I uncovered all the Chinese, technology underneath it, I quickly deleted it off my phone. I don't even have it on there now. But I think TikTok is important because there's a generation out there that's where they consume their news, their news on TikTok. Exactly. So I do think it's important that we fight this battle on all social media fronts. And to your point, Facebook has been pretty good to me over the years as well. And I'm a lot older than you guys are. So that's my target audience. I could put up analytics. What is your target demo? Who do you reach the most? And can you give me male, female, age-wise?
So we say our target audience is Gen Z because that's who we want to speak to. We can relate to. We can do the fun little dances. And
we're Gen Z, so it makes sense.
But we have found that actually generations, our parents' age and above really resonate, and we give them a lot of hope that younger, kids and adults are doing something. So we
kind of fluctuates a little bit.
We target the younger audience, but the older generation
just comes.
They love us and we love them, and it's great.
Okay. Also, here's a kind of a funny question because I know what my answer is. Do you delete more posts than you actually put up? Because I'll go 10 deleted posts to maybe one that actually makes it online, because after I write it out, I go, you know what? Wow, that might be a little bit too rough, and I delete it. Does that happen to you as well?
We used to a little bit in the beginning. Actually, our very first post on the Patriot Sisters Instagram, we posted it Saturday night. By Sunday morning, we deleted it. We're like, this is stupid. We're not doing it. And then, of course, we reposted later that evening. But we don't really pull things back.
Unless I am queen of typos and she makes me pull typos.
If there's a typo, it's her fault. Done, not me.
It's a weakness.
I can't tell you how many times I've, created this great post, and after I posted, I realized there's like 3 typos. Like, what was I thinking, right?
And then that's all people care about
because it's got a pretty good response. So.
Yep.
It's her
and
fault.
if there's any typo, people care, I feel like, more about the typos than the actual content and the message.
Well, that does lead me to my next question. How do you engage with the haters online? Do you get tangled up in the WWE cage match that is the comments? or do you just walk away from them?
You know, it took a long time to find our feel for how we should operate when it comes to the hate.
Yeah.
Especially last year, Antifa came after us, and our accounts, social media accounts, were bombarded by the thousands and thousands of comments, DMs, messages, all the above. So we just kind of learned to just let them kind of do their thing. At this point, we have our own followers that kind of take care of it for us.
Yeah.
So we don't really, you know, get involved, but sometimes we do. But
if we're bored, we like
bored
to have a little fun, but we try not to get too involved because it gets hard. It's easy to get caught up in.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we are joined by the Patriot Sisters. We're going to take a quick time out and hear a message from our friends over at Patriot Mobile, but we'll be back. And I also want to find out their most controversial posts that they've ever done. Stay with us. Patriot Mobile is the only Christian conservative wireless provider in the country. Now more than ever, it's vital that we support companies and organizations that share our values. You get award-winning customer service and the technology you need to connect your worlds. Simply go online to patriotmobile.com/RSBN for special offers. Welcome back to Under the Influence, the Patriot Sisters joining me now. We've learned how they got started. We learned how they create their posts. But what is your most controversial post that you've ever put up that you got a lot of kickback from either, you know, people that are against you and maybe, of course, people who were, you know, wanted to take you down, like off the platform?
So, okay, last summer.
Are we going to go with it?
Or should we bring it up? Let's do
bring
it.
it back
Okay.
up.
So we made a video on George Floyd, you know, exposing the truth, what really happened with the body cam footage. And there was a social media account from some gay guy who lives in DC. He took our page,
Has almost 1 million followers on his account.
he took our content, edited the crap out of it, threw in
Wow.
CNN footage, made us look really bad. I mean,
Genuinely looked like bad people because he altered it.
and his caption literally said, "Go get them." And so we
Wow.
had death threats, phone calls, emails.
We were doxxed, so our home address was given out. We had encrypted phone calls to our personal cells saying, "I know where you live." They would give their
coming.
address, "I'm coming," and detail what they would do. I mean, it was just barbaric. We had a police investigation open up. I mean, it was the real deal. But
So
that
that
was
guy-
probably the most controversial.
That
And that was in the beginning of starting the Patriot Sisters.
But since then, honestly, the Harry Styles drama,
Oh my
we
gosh,
got so much hate from Harry Styles fans and saying that he shouldn't have worn a dress.
the fandom
My
came after
goodness.
us, and it was awful.
Yeah, it is amazing how sometimes when you talk about a pop star, you know, an actor, an actress, a musician, and you criticize them for doing something that was maybe blatant against our culture or our country, how much criticism you get for speaking your opinion. But yet Harry Styles can put on a dress, or someone can talk negatively. Alyssa Milano can talk negatively about the US. And you just want to say, wait a minute, it's okay for her, but it's not okay for us, which I want to get into this next thing. And I want to get your thoughts on it. I was at the symposium in South Dakota with Mike Lindell and that whole 3-day unraveling of all this information. We found out by through an investigation that both Facebook and Twitter have essentially backdoor access from the government to go in and silence you and I. And they use these social media platforms as a puppet, and they stand behind their protection to silence our voices. Let's walk. I'm sure you guys have been, you know, throttled. I mean, do you ever see your numbers just plummet one day? I mean, obviously with the George Floyd thing, I know you probably got a lot of attention, but I would doubt that after that, you might have dropped off some.
Yeah, absolutely. And it happens. And we go through phases where, especially in our stories, they'll be up into 4,000 or 5,000 views, and then we're barely hit 1,000. And
Like how
Our
that
con-
doesn't make any
it
sense.
doesn't make any sense. And so we've seen it. The complete, you know, people's opinions are valued and encouraged in the country unless you go against mainstream media, and then all of a sudden you're hated.
It's such an Indian giver mentality, and I'm honestly done with it. And a lot of people continue to believe it because they just want to follow what the left says, what Hollywood says.
But don't you think the tide is turning a little bit? We've got the Biden approval numbers just came out a few days ago, and this was taken before the Afghanistan disaster. I think you've got a lot of buyer's remorse on Joe Biden. I think you have a lot of voters that wish they had not voted for him. Donald Trump did not poll well on his personality from a lot of voters because we know he's very polarizing on that, but people liked his policies. But Joe Biden just ran on, I hate Donald Trump more than you do. And we all found out he has no policies to back up his presidency. Are you seeing things on social media? Are we starting to make some ground on maybe persuading those independents that, you know what, you voted for the wrong person and Donald Trump should be president?
Yeah, they're definitely taking a taste of their own medicine right now. And it's, you know, the numbers are showing that, but none of that will matter if we don't fix the integrity of our processes here when it comes to the election. I mean, at this point, sure, people could say JoJo's, we like to call them, technically won, but we all know the truth of what happened. And so having these numbers come out is encouraging, and it does encourage, I know it encourages Gen Z to want to get more involved and get active and vocal, but none of it matters if we don't fix the root of the problem.
True. It's very, very, very true. Okay. So do you have any encouraging words for other, you know, aspiring Gen Zers that want to get out there and get on social media? Because I always say this, like you don't have to create your own content, right? I mean, sometimes people, it's not in them to do that, what you guys do, and you do it awesome. But what can they do to make a difference on their own social media platforms?
We have 3 things we tell people that you need to do. Number 1 is on social media, create your own content. But if you don't want to,
share ours.
The
Patriot Sisters, they do it pretty well.
Share RSBN. There's so many amazing content creators and influencers out there who are doing the work for you. But the most important thing that we're encouraging people to do is Paul Revere it, which means go back and do word of mouth. Talk to the people in the grocery store.
Talk to the people when you're at the gym or at school or in work. Like, just talk to someone. Your objective is not to change their mind, but simply to just start a conversation and present a new perspective on something.
Who is your favorite person to follow on social media and why?
Well, it was Donald Trump.
Not anymore.
That's a good question. I mean, I think everybody has their own unique personality. Of course, Christian Walker, he's fun,
hilarious,
lighthearted. Alex,
she brings the facts.
She brings the facts straight under a minute. But, you know, everybody has their own little part. I don't know if we have a favorite, though.
I think a collection of all of them. It depends on what currently is going on in the news, who I look to.
I was going to pull up a Christian Walker, and if someone's not familiar with him, let me see what rant we have here.
What's the most recent Starbucks rant?
Look at him.
He's great. See, I love it.
It's hilarious, and that's
you know what. So and authentic. I think that he resonates so well with everyone. It doesn't matter what your age group is, what your sexuality is, what your race is. He's speaking the truth.
Yeah.
We need more Christian Walkers in this world, I think.
We do.
He says what we all think, and he does it really funny.
He brings comedy to it, which is something we try to do as well. Life's hard, and so we try to bring a balance of facts and comedy. Yeah.
Let's talk about the influencers that you dislike the most. You don't have to name names if you don't want to, but I know that there's I can't watch Rachel Maddow for the life of me. I can't watch anything on MSNBC. I really try. But when they spend 22, 25 minutes on the top of the show on doing nothing but smearing you and I and all of our biblical beliefs, our patriotic beliefs and what we stand behind, when they discredit all of that, I just want to just throw my television. But is there anyone out there that just triggers you?
A lot.
A lot?
Well, I mean, I don't let them trigger me because I'm not a snowflake, of course. But there are people that annoy me and really irk me. Obviously, Don Lemon, the obvious ones, right? You got JoJo, people in the office, Harris. But when it comes to influencers, I mean, the person who took our video, the BLM video, and altered it, that obviously really irked me. I mean, he still has almost 1 million followers, so he's definitely an influencer.
Yeah.
But really, for me, it's not necessarily the personality, but anybody who can their only way to get their message across is to attack somebody else personally. I have no respect for. The moment you have to attack someone personally is the moment you have no basis and no foundation. I disregard anything you say.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. I love listening to Dennis Prager. He's one of my favorite PragerU, I suggest all of you guys watch it right now. If you're not familiar with Dennis Prager and PragerU, go look them up, follow them.
Yeah.
They're great videos. I mean, I offered up my kids. I said, I'll pay you $20,000 a year not to go to college and just do PragerU and watch these videos and give me a short synopsis of what you watch. I think you get far more greater wisdom than that than throwing your money away at these universities.
You know, PragerU is one of the many organizations that really got us interested in relearning our history in this country.
It was the 5-minute videos.
5-minute videos, and now we're PragerU ambassadors. So it's just been really fun to see it come full circle. And we highly love and recommend PragerU and everything they do.
There you go. Okay, a final thing. How can people find you if this is the first time they're coming across the Patriot Sisters? Let's give out all your handles and all the social media.
Yeah, so it's the Patriot Sisters on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, Telegram. We're literally
everywhere.
Every single platform that hates us and loves us, we are on trying to get our message out.
And I want to come across you guys again at a Trump rally. That was great. We were down in Sarasota. So we're going to try to keep our eyes on that Trump schedule. And if there's one anywhere near you, I want to make sure you join me up there on the stage and talk. I would love to get you guys your input on everything, because we're going to one tomorrow in Alabama. So I can't wait for that.
You're rubbing it in. No,
well,
home.
There'll be some more. There'll be some more. I can promise you that. Hey, I appreciate it once again for coming on, and God bless what you guys do, and stay strong and just keep posting.
Thank you so much. We love RSBN and everything that you guys are doing, and we'll see you at another Trump rally. Mark my words.
Absolutely. All right. That wraps up today's edition of Under the Influence. Once again, thanks to our partners over at Patriot Mobile. Go check them out. It's time to reduce your cell phone bill and support conservative causes at the same time. It's quick and easy. You can keep your phone. If you want a new phone, you can get one of those as well. So go over to patriotmobile.com/RSBN for a special offer from our friends over at Patriot Mobile. Until next time, goodbye. God bless. We'll see you.